All right, let's talk about Shedeur Sanders here in the Cleveland Browns. Yes, we finally got to see him in an NFL game, and I thought he played well here. It was not perfect, and there were some mistakes, I especially thought early on. So we'll talk about the mistakes and where he needs to improve upon, and also I think where he's maybe still not perfect at, but is improving upon. And then we'll show kind of once he got, I felt comfortable in the game, how he was able to really make a lot of good stuff happen. So yeah, let's just get into it. Let's start off with this play. This is a play that I definitely think you can talk positively or negatively depending on how you want to. So first, let's just talk about the play. It's a zone coverage concept. Really, that route is the one that you are going to be looking towards. You can kind of see why, right? Could get into a gap in coverage. Some of those other routes could also help it get more open. So, okay, sure, simple enough. For Sanders, what happens? When this play begins, you're going to see this is open, and there is a positive swing and a negative swing that you could go with this one. The negative one is that should he have gotten the ball out of his hands quicker? Maybe. I do think that, like, again, it's unfair to compare him to veterans, but I think a veteran quarterback would already be getting into throwing motion here. Sanders is like, I don't know, like a half tick late on that, like not even a full tick late on that, like a little bit later. Hey, he got the ball there, although the tackle was made and they weren't quite able to get the first down. That's a kind of a small, subtle thing, but, that does kind of that can sometimes be the difference between being successful or unsuccessful. I will say, though, I think this is a positive by Shedeur Sanders because I watched him in college, and he wasn't always the best at this. And to me, I see an improvement here, and that's kind of what I'm looking for with the preseason, is what are your weaknesses, and are you improving on those weaknesses? And in my opinion, that's what he's doing. So I see this as a positive. Some people could view it the other way. Ultimately, didn't get the first down. They had to punt, so it is a play that didn't work, but I still think he's moving in the right direction. But just real quick, this is another example, and there were a few of these actually where it's like timing's just a bit off here, right? And so that's why I kind of want to bring this up. I know it's a little nitpicky, but when you see it multiple times, I think it's fair to bring up. Like, that's not actually an accurate throw like it looks like. It's just timing. He thought his receiver was going to stop, or really it was just he threw it a bit late. The spot would be fine had he thrown it a little bit earlier. Little things like that. You have to wonder, just not having first team reps and not playing with these guys, how much that's a factor with this. But yeah, just figured that was something to bring up. This next play is for sure a positive. So what's going to happen here is it starts off with, it looks like the Panthers are maybe even trying to fool Shedeur Sanders. The play is you're going to have two defensive linemen move further towards the middle of the field. A defensive tackle is going to swing all the way over, and he's going to go, hopefully get a straight shot to Shedeur Sanders is probably what the plan is. And I don't know if this is intentional or not, but when this play begins, you see how Shedeur starts to step up because he sees how the edge rusher has kind of given up containment. He's saying, hey, I could have some space here, and he likes to take advantage of that. However, we know that there is a defensive lineman who is going to be in that direction and going to, try and make a play. But when he moves over there, Sanders is just faster, and he, gets around him and still picks up a first down. I almost feel like the athleticism stuff maybe overcorrected with Shedeur Sanders, where, people had to kind of talk about how, hey, yes, he's Deion Sanders' son, but he isn't this elite athlete, and it's true, he isn't. But, he can still move. He can still make plays with his legs. He did that in college, and we're seeing him do that on this play as well. It's not all of his game, but it is a part of it. Going over to this next play, I have a couple critiques here. So this is a 2nd down and 12 situation. First, you can talk about the concept of it's actually going to be the same thing on both sides of the field, and it gets open on the other side of the field, but you can't know that before you take the snap, right? Essentially, you look for the deeper route. If that's not open, you throw a check down. That's kind of the read here. Sanders takes a snap. He stays on his first read, maybe a bit longer than you would like because that really wasn't open. And then at this point, this play has gone on for too long. You have to make a decision at this point. I know it doesn't feel like forever, but we're talking over 3.5 seconds into a play. Usually you get 2.5 seconds. Now with play action, you hope to get a little bit more, but still, you have to be making a decision here. NFL clock just moves so quickly. So that's the negative. There's then going to be a positive and then another negative. The positive, look at this job to get away from that pressure and stay on his feet and know to get rid of the ball before he gets hit. The issue is he then also airmailed that throw, and that's just the throw you have to make and would have been a first down there. So, yeah, kind of a weird play as a whole. Would have liked to see him get rid of the football quicker. Did a great job of recovering, but then also would have liked to see him be able to make that throw. Now, this next one, I'm not even going to show the play on the screen because I don't think it's that necessary. It's a 4th down and 1 situation, and I saw him getting a lot of criticism for this play, and I kind of understand it, but I'm not going to crush him too hard for this. This is really a bad job by the offensive line. Watch how when this play begins. Quick pressure on the inside right there. Nice move there by that Carolina player. But for Shedeur Sanders, I mean, there's only so much you can do in this situation. It's 4th down and 1. What you have to do is just make a throw and hope it works out. Like, this isn't an ideal situation. There isn't someone wide open. You kind of have to just go with it. Again, in college, he would hold on to the ball and he would make good things happen. He's going to try that here, and I think what he's going to quickly learn in the NFL is that you just can't do that. Because watch how he runs backwards, and there's nowhere for him to go. And I'm going to be honest, he's really lucky this wasn't grounding. They never showed a wide shot, so I don't know if there was someone. I'm assuming what they're saying is, because he was in the pocket at that point, I'm assuming what they're saying is that there was someone in the area. But yeah, I mean, for sure lucky that was, that was not intentional grounding, because I don't think he was throwing it to someone. I think he was just trying to get rid of it, and it worked out, which would have mattered. Again, I know it's 4th down, but had that been grounding, then Carolina would have gotten the ball instead of at their own 25-ish yard line at Cleveland's 40-yard line. That would have been a huge difference. But then we would go on and see him make some really good plays. Like, for example, this next one was going to happen. This was the touchdown play. So again, offense hadn't really been able to do a lot, but they get the muffed punt, get very close to the goal line right away. You see the concept on the screen, and routes going up towards the top of the screen with play action towards the bottom of the screen. Shedeur is going to take the snap, and it's going to be, so there's several eligible receivers, none of which appear to be that open. But you see I've circled one in white. That is the player Shedeur Sanders is looking towards, which is a route I'm not sure I would have recommended him throwing to. But you know what? All you have to do in this situation, if you're going to try and fit through a tight window, is make a perfect throw. And that's going to be exactly what Shedeur Sanders does there. I mean, look, that's just a thing of beauty right there. It really is. So, yeah, really impressive stuff. And, again, being able to make these types of plays is obviously important. And he made a few plays down the stretch. Like this next one. So what's going to happen here is it's a 3rd down and 8. That's worth mentioning. So, really the concept itself is less important, and just the play, we can get into it. You see how Sanders is going to take the snap, going to be under pressure, and this is something he did a really good job of in college, is he's not afraid to take a hit. He'll stay in the pocket to make sure he can get the ball downfield if he wants to. That's exactly what happens. Now, the cornerback falling down certainly makes that throw a little bit easier, but nonetheless, again, it's a good play to get it down there, well-timed, took the hit, doesn't matter, able to still make the play. So that was very good. You saw him use his legs a little bit more. So like this play, you're going to see him scramble up. Really good stuff here. You also saw on this one, watch how he's going to juke out some defenders, which is important. So he gets a couple of guys. I'm going to have to pause it right here just for copyright reasons. I can't let it play for too long, but pause it right here and then resume. You see that he, is able to make guys miss. And again, for someone who's going to hold on to the ball for a while, it's kind of part of his game. You want to see that be able to work, correct? Right? Like, obviously, it's not going to work as well as it does in college, and it's worth mentioning these are not, starters that he's going up against at this point. But still, he's able to make these types of plays, and that's good. I will say kind of immediately after this, he did almost throw a pick. The broadcast never showed a good angle. This is what I have. I don't know if this was his fault or if this is the receiver's fault. Hard to say why he ended up making the throw. Ultimately, though, as a quarterback, you can't throw it right to a defender, regardless of how poorly the receiver plays it. So you still have to blame him at the end of the day. So that's worth mentioning. Wish I could break it down more. Just sometimes I'm at the whim of what the broadcast decides to give me. Couple more plays that, again, I'm not showing the whole play, just showing some of it, but you're going to see on this one. This is where I think Sanders really thrives, is you see him, he's going outside the pocket right here, but again, where I think he really is successful is he doesn't just have to run. A lot of young guys just want to run when they get outside the pocket. He's not afraid to look downfield. He, finds something he likes, and as you see, he is going to make this throw, and I mean, okay, could it have been a touch lower? Sure, but that feels very nitpicky. It's a very good play. And again, we'll have to see if this will work against NFL starters, right? But, something I always bring up is backup NFL players are college all-stars, right? So if we're talking about, level of competition from where he came from, this is at least showing that at a major upgrade, this still works. This stuff still works. So to me, I am buying Shedeur Sanders stock after these types of plays. I am. The second touchdown pass was also, good throw here. Was able to maneuver in the pocket a little bit, make a nice play. I would say there was this play as well where you see, unblocked man gets through. Again, to Sanders' credit, really good feel for the pressure. He's really good pocket presence. Showed this in college. Is showing this in the pros. I would say this is another example, though, of I want to see him get rid of the football. Watch as he holds on to it. He was wanting his receiver to come back, and it never happened. But, at a certain point, you do have to get rid of that football. I know it's third down. It's not the end of the world to take a sack there, but you are losing an extra 7 yards. Field position matters. Plus, he wasn't even protecting the football. He only had one hand on it. You can't have one hand on the ball when you're getting tackled, because oftentimes that'll result in you having 0 hands on the ball by the time you hit the ground. Don't want that to happen. So, again, it was like I keep saying, it would be weird if he was perfect in his first preseason game, right? There's going to be mistakes. You're expecting some mistakes, and there were some mistakes. I did have some other total nitpicks, like a bit too many pre-snap penalties, and a couple throws that were completions, but were a little bit off, but which I already kind of touched on both of those earlier in this video. So ultimately, though, this was a good performance by Shedeur Sanders. It just was. He showed what you want to see him be able to show. He showed that some of the traits that we were wondering if they would translate to the NFL, seemingly, at least at this level of competition, have translated, which is, the first step, right? Obviously, we all know, Zach Wilson had a great preseason. It doesn't mean everything, but it doesn't mean nothing either. And for a guy who's still trying to get playing time, still trying to make a roster, this is a big win for him. Now, again, there's a lot of talk about, is he going to move up in the depth chart? It depends on the injuries the other guys have and things of that nature. It was a huge opportunity for him to get this playing time. I don't think it's impossible he could move up in the depth chart. But I certainly think they'll at least give him more reps. Make sure they see him out there. I think that's probably the way that they will handle this. So yeah, those are my thoughts on all of this. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.